in prison. A couple of the murderers are still alive. I think one or two are still alive today.
Yeah, a lot of them are old. I forget who the most recent, I can't remember if Susan Atkins died, or
we have a big
Manson died in 2017?
Yeah, Manson died 2017.
But they're all very old now, and a lot of them have died. And
Atkins died in 2009. Krim Rico is still alive. And she's now the longest incarcerated female inmate in California penal system. Van Houten is still alive. She's 71. Manson died in 2017. Burn in hell, you bastard. And Watson is still alive.
Okay.
Yeah, Tex Watson is still alive.
The Strangers is definitely a very creepy movie, so all that makes sense. I would say out of all of the movies, Murder by Numbers, like I said, that's that sort of generic mediocre thriller from that time era. Mm-hmm. Jennifer's Body, which we'll obviously get into, is honestly a feminist cult classic.
Yeah.
And it's kind of its own thing, even though it is horror. Mm-hmm. But I would say out of all of the three movies, The Strangers definitely is the creepiest.
Yeah.
And, the most sort of that's scary as shit to think about.
Yeah, yeah. That murder, shit. And the thing is that you end up committing this murder and another murder, the LaBianca murders, all because you're a talentless druggie who's able to get all these women.
He was a cult leader.
It was a cult. It was a hippie cult. And now it's just the thing with cults is how can one person to get them do all these things? I'm watching The Vow or NXIVM or
Keith Rainier is such a fucking nerd.
Yeah, he is a fucking nerd.
Not to get on. We'll just talk about this briefly, but I'm just I don't understand it. I considered myself to be a very strong, empowered person. I'm hard to control. So, I couldn't see myself ever falling into something like that. So I cannot, wrap my head around that. I've been manipulated in my life, and I've dealt with narcissists and sociopaths and all that. But I've never... I don't know. I do not understand.
Yeah, it bothers me. And even, hearing, Leah Remini, with her... Aftermath Scientology, and her podcast on Scientology, she constantly says, every time someone says that comes to her, I wouldn't fall for that, and he was no, it can't happen to you. And I can understand where he's coming from, especially someone who was in there. But even looking with Manson, it was the fuck they follow your ass around? Why are all these fucking people following your dumb ass around and shit? And then being a coward and saying that your murders are blamed, coming up with this crazy ass fucking things there's going to be a race war because I'm a racist son of a bitch who's on too many drugs, and the blacks are going to win, and they're not going to know how to do anything, so they're going to call on the family. We would call on your skinny ass with your skinny white women to come run shit because we don't know how to fucking run shit. Yeah, I would drown you in fucking Pacific Ocean, one by one. I would drown you all. What the fuck? And then be cowards to blame it on the Black Panther Party and not even coming up and say, yeah, we did it. Until, I don't know, it just boggles my mind because even after he was in jail, he had... women tried to assassinate Gerald Ford. Squeaky Ford.
What did Gerald Ford ever do to you?
I don't know, other than eat too many fucking nachos.
What did Gerald Ford ever do to you?
He's trying to kill Gerald Ford. What the fuck? I don't get it. I don't get it. And like the carnage they left in their wake. We promised Roman Polanski. my thing with Roman Polanski is a little different. Roman Polanski is still a scumbag, in my opinion. But this fucked him up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
This really fucked him up. Before he was young, I mean, looking at Roman Polanski's life, I mean, you can literally say, dude, this guy's a shitbag. He went on, he molested a 13-year-old girl. What the fuck? This guy deserves to be in prison. And now, like, going to prison and he ends up fleeing to France. And running from his consequences. But this dude was fucked up. This guy survived the Holocaust. Then, after surviving that horror, coming up, marrying the girl, pretty much the girl he fell in love with, and getting a phone call saying that your girlfriend has been butchered with your unborn child. And the guilt he must have felt from not being there to be able to protect his wife and his unborn child fucked him up. And he's been making stupid decisions since that time. Doesn't mean I excuse it, but I understand because this dude went through fucking hell twice. So, he deserves to be in a prison. But at the same time, I think he deserves to be in a prison hospital. Because, he's probably still not dealing with it, even though he's still making films.
Yeah, there's just like
lifetime
of trauma.
There's so much trauma in there. It's like making films is not going to solve that trauma.
Yeah. And I believe his victim, too, had said that, she has forgiven him.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at it all weird. So, yeah.
Yeah, but today I learned The Strangers was inspired by the Tate killings.
Yes.
By the Manson family.
Yes. And, again, some people say that they also see the Kenny Cabin murders in it. We'll get to the Kenny Cabin murders early next year, 2021, because that's an episode on to itself. So, okay. Oh, in closing, everybody's in fucking jail and most people are dead. So the Manson family, thank God. Okay, last story is Meredith's favorite.
Not my favorite, but it's a great movie.
Yes, Jennifer's Body, which came out in 2009. It was a film written by Academy Award-winning writer Diablo Cody, who wrote Juno, won the Academy Award for writing Juno.
And Whip It.
And she also wrote Whip It?
Yeah, she wrote Whip It.
I thought Drew Barrymore wrote Whip It.
She directed it or produced it or something.
Oh, okay.
She was heavily involved in it.
Oh, okay. Well, Diablo Cody wrote
And she's also a former stripper. Shout out to sex workers doing big shit.
Yep. Oh, man. Everyone was saying that you can't do something, because yes, you can.
She won a goddamn Oscar.
It stars Megan Fox, Amanda Seyfried, Johnny Simmons, and Adam Brody. Fox portrays a demonically possessed high school girl who kills her male castmates and her best friend striving to stop her. Okay. Quick summary of the plot. Needy, once obscure, studious teenager living in Devil's Kettle, Minnesota. I was marking it when we were watching the movie before it started. I thought the town was named Devil's Anus, Minnesota. And I finally figured out where that was from. I was like, no, Devil's Anus is from Guardians of the Galaxy. And Guardians, also funny with Jennifer's Body, is that Chris Pratt, the worst of the Chris's, is in Jennifer's Body. I didn't realize that until watching this film again, because it's been years since I've seen Jennifer's Body. But yeah, the town's called Devil's Kettle, Minnesota. Is that actual town? No.
Probably not. It sounds pretty made up to me.
No. Needy is now a violent mental inmate who narrates the story as a flashback while in solitary confinement. Since childhood, she's been friends with Jennifer Check, a popular cheerleader, despite having little in common. One night, Jennifer takes Needy to a local dive bar to attend a concert by indie rock band Low Shoulder. That's a dumb name for a band.
They were pretty shitty too.
Yeah, the suspicious fire engulfs the bar, killing several people. In shot, Jennifer agrees to leave with the band despite Needy's protests. Later that evening, Jennifer, covered in blood, appears in Needy's kitchen and attempts to eat food from the refrigerator. She immediately vomits a black spiny fluid and leaves in a hurry. The next morning at school, Jennifer appears fine and dismisses Needy's concerns, while the town is devastated by the deaths caused by the fire. Jennifer seduces the school's football captain in the woods and disembowels him. Meanwhile, members of Low Shoulder gain popularity to their falsely rumored heroism during the fire and offers to make a charity appearance at the school spring formal. A month later, Jennifer has become pale. She accepts a date with the school goth emo Colin, who she brutally murders. While Needy and her boyfriend Chip are having sexual activity, Needy senses something dreadful has happened. She leaves in a panic and almost runs over Jennifer, who is drenched in blood. At home, she again encounters Jennifer, who explains that Low Shoulder had taken her to the woods after the bar fire and offered her as a virgin sacrifice to Satan in exchange for fame and fortune. Throughout the sacrifice and the exchange were successful, Jennifer was not actually a virgin, so she is permanently possessed. Leaving the woods, Jennifer encounters the exchange student leaving the scene of the fire and made him her first victim. Jennifer states that when she has eaten, she can withstand virtually any injury without pain, healing instantly. The following day, Needy goes to the school's library coldest section and determines that Jennifer is a succubus who must feed on flesh and can only be killed while she's hungry and weak.
Shout out to my succubi out there. You know who you are.
Mm-hmm. Stay the hell away from me.
They're not all bad. Succubi can be really cool. I'm friends with some of them.
Okay. Needy tells Chip about her discovery about Jennifer and warns him not to attend the school dance. He does not believe her, so she breaks up with him in order to protect him. Chip decides to attend the dance anyway, but is intercepted by Jennifer, who takes him to an abandoned pool house and begins feeding on him. Needy arrives there and fights Jennifer. Chip impales Jennifer through the stomach with a pool skimmer, but Jennifer removes it and escapes while Chip dies. Needy goes to Jennifer's home and breaks into her bedroom. She fights Jennifer and stabs her in the heart with a utility knife, killing her and destroying the demon, which is probably the funniest part of the movie, which she says after she gets stabbed, she's like, my tit. Jennifer's mother enters and finds Needy on top of her daughter's body. Soon after, Needy is brought to an asylum. In her asylum room, she manifests some of Jennifer's superpowers, such as super strength and ability to levitate, due to a non-fatal bite from Jennifer between the fight between them. She escapes a mental facility, hitchhikes a ride to the hotel where Low Shoulder is staying, and murders all of them.
Feminist masterpiece.
Yes, apparently.
I would say that it's like the modern, like, I spit on your grave.
Pretty much so. I first saw it in theaters because I really liked Judo, and there was nothing else out that time, so I was like, hey, let's go see this movie. And I first saw it, I was kind of like, I expected a little bit better, but But now it seems like it's this giant cult classic.
Yeah, it really, obviously, I was a teenage girl when it came out, so I had a different experience. We were all excited for it. And then it really didn't do well. And then no one ever really talked about it. Or, just really, made a fuss about it. It was mostly women. But it's really gotten a resurgence over the past few years, especially now with, Megan Fox kind of coming out recently about, her mistreatment in Hollywood and why she kind of disappeared. It's just become more and more relevant.
Yeah, it's especially